good evening everyone and welcome back to the League of Europe YouTube channel for round 5 of the Division 3 season. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Carmentalist. My voice is back and I will be taking you through proceedings as per usual in Division 3. And joining me in the comments box as usual as well is IRO Dylan. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing great. How are you, Aidan?
I'm doing well. Like I said, my voice is back, so we can commentate without having to worry about my voice cracking or disappearing midway through. So we are good to go.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this race, to be honest. The championship is looking quite tight at the top, with 7 or 14 point difference between the top 3.
Yes, absolutely. And if some people are watching the stream that aren't part of Division 3, that are from outside of Division 3 or outside of League of Europe in general, there has been a few changes to the lineup in Division 3 going into this round. So, two-time race winner this season, XL Hardy, has been moved up to Division 2, so he is no longer racing in this division. Replacing him in the Racing Point is QVR Chill. He's been moved down from Division 2. His Division 2 start of the season didn't go too well for him, to say the least. He's taken part in all the races but hasn't scored points in Division 2 as of yet, so he has been moved down to this division. They are replacing each other. New additions, TNR Tejonis is filling in for Paul today in the Red Bull. He's our reserve driver for today. Other people that are racing, Thal has been moved into the McLaren full-time. Pelly has been moved to reserve, so he will be in and out sporadically throughout the season, but Thal is now the full-time McLaren driver this season. Savage is in the lobby. He's a reserve as well. He's reserving for B. Morgan today, I believe, in the Haas. We've also got Legend in the Red Bull. He's taking over from TTG Storm, who is moving down to Division 4. So Legend is now a full-time driver in the Red Bull. And looking at those people that have come in, I've commentated over a few of these guys before, and I know that you've seen some of these guys before. What are your opinions of these guys?
I know they're all quite fast, to be honest. Like, I know Chill, of course, moving from D2 to D3. He's probably looking like one of the faster guys already in D3. So it's going to be exciting to see where he is. I know Legende is quite quick. I'm not actually quite sure, but from what I've seen from him a couple of times, I know he's quite fast around here.
Yeah, definitely. I've commented over Legend before in TTML Formula 2. He's a regular podium sitter in that division, alongside people like Blizzard and Coutinho, so some big names on this platform. Thor, I commentate over Division 3 in TTML, and a lot of people you'll find in this league are in that division as well. And it's fair to say he's given the likes of Caesar and Damon and Mark runs for their money recently. So he's definitely a good addition to this league. To this league and this division, as is Chill as well. Savage is one that I don't really know. He's probably the only one I would say that I haven't seen race before. He's new to League of Europe. I believe this is his first race in this league, so that's really good to see. Before we go into qualifying, though, we're just going to run you through the rest of the standings. Obviously, it's a 14-point gap covering the top 3. It's Jorno that still leads. First time not on the podium last time out in the Netherlands. He only finished down in, I believe, 8th place in the end. He had a pretty poor race. Caesar is in 2nd place. He won the race on track but got a place penalty, so he takes points for 2nd. J. Cole is 3rd in the Racing Point, and then behind that it's Mark, B. Morgan, YHYY, Eduk, Paul, TDB, and Damon rounding off the top 10 in the points. And just looking further down the points, we obviously said a couple times this season the likes of Callum and Bree really haven't got off to the best of starts this season. Is there anyone else you think that should be higher up in the championship?
I think Jay Luke should be higher up. I don't know. Yeah, he is racing this race, but in the preseason races, he was one of the quicker guys. Like, he won, I believe, France by quite some margin in the preseason races. I'm quite surprised to see him below the top 10 in the standings right now.
Yeah, he won the France preseason race, like you say, and then I believe he came 3rd in the Britain race, if I remember correctly. That race was won by J. Cole and TDB was 2nd, and he was on the podium fighting at the front for the whole time. So yeah, he's definitely one that I agree with you in that I'm surprised to see him struggling so much this season so far. He's definitely got the pace to be at the front, but it's just not quite come together for him. Coming out onto Spain though, just before we get onto our first qualifying lap on board with Chill, what's your opinions on this track? How do you feel about the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya?
To be honest, I think the track is quite nice. Sector 1 is incredibly fast, Sector 2 is incredibly technical, but Sector 3 is where things go wrong in my opinion. Sector 3 doesn't suit the track in my opinion. It's way too slow, way too it's not a good sector. It doesn't suit this track, especially for overtaking. purposes, as Chill has invalidated this and next lap.
Yes.
I believe it was on purpose.
It was, yeah, coming out of the final corner. We might be, just before we obviously get into qualifying, we might see this quite a lot. That's one thing to look out for, is that strategy here, you're likely to see a lot of people start on the medium, so people that are going out on the softs might purposely invalidate their time so that they don't actually put. But we'll have to wait and see what people do. We're right on board with Chill through the rest of the lap. He's finished through the first sector. Look for a high 20 to be the fastest first sector time today. Coming through the middle part of the lap now, through very, very tricky turn 7 and 8. So easy to lose the car on traction. Coming through that corner, now up into turn 9. Also very easy to spin here. He keeps well away from the inside curb, but nice and neat on the exit. Coming now down towards the end of the straight and the hairpin. It's a 49 flat at the end of the second sector. It's looking pretty competitive time. Coming out of turn 10 hairpin, doesn't run onto the green concrete on the outside. Coming through turn 12, very easy to get on the power too early here, and Chill proves that by getting too early on the power and slides the car coming out the corner, hits the gravel. He's probably going to continue with this lap into the final chicane that obviously has been reprofiled for this game as we come through the final corner now then. Through the little dip in the final corner, coming up to the line, and the time on the softs is a 1:15.2. Not that competitive a time to start off the session, really.
No, but I believe he really wants to set his time on the medium tires and start the race on those tires at least. And Damon also as well invalidated his lap.
Yeah,
he did a 15.5.
15.5, not as fast. Savage is coming up to the line on a set of mediums. He's obviously made a mistake on his lap. It was only a 17.7. Mark's already done a lap on the medium tyres. So he's already gone to the front on a 15.7. That's not quite competitive enough at the moment. And it's very early in the session to be doing a lap on the medium tyres. You probably want to wait to the end of the session so that you get the best track conditions.
Yeah, I believe that is the case. To be honest, I don't think track evolution is that big of a thing on this game, as Eloy Maurice and Jonas both said competitive lap times 2/10 apart and on the soft tires. Would be interesting to see though if they might improve on those lap times on the medium tires, because it is possible.
Yeah, it is possible.
A decent lap time on the mediums. It's only a 6/10 difference, I believe. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, the tyre difference in terms of qualifying, the tyre difference between the softs and the mediums is not very big here. It is around half a second, like you say. We've already had one of the Renault spinning coming out of turn 4. I believe that's Brie, it is. Brie spun the car coming through turn 4 on his first lap on the medium tyre, so already his run compromised, and those medium tyres are going to be very, very hot as he gets back onto the track safely. He waits nicely for the guys coming through, and he's back onto the track in a safe manner. Here we've got one of the Williams coming around on a lap. That will be TDB. He's on the medium tyres. So we'll ride on board with him and see how he's doing, see where he's relative to the other medium runners that have finished laps. Savage did a 15.5 and Eduk did a 15.4 on the medium tyres, which are very competitive times in the end. Only, well, less than a tenth behind Jonas. J. Cole's currently fastest, but only 3/10 clear of Eduk, who's in 4th on those mediums. Here comes TDB to the end of the second sector. It's a 49.6 by the end of the second sector, which isn't that strong on these medium tyres. You want to be in a very, very low 49 to be right at the front of the field on a set of mediums. Here he comes then through the final sector. Like I say, very, very technical. Quite a slow part to the lap, a very slow end to the lap before you get back into sector 1, which is incredibly, incredibly fast. Through the final chicane, very easy to hit those sausage curbs too hard and bounce really wide of the line and ruin your run coming up to the line. But here comes TDB to the line, and it's only a 15.9. A lot of people at the moment really struggling to find the ultimate lap speed around here.
Yeah, it's just, of course, very difficult to actually put up all your best sectors around this track, because it's indeed very technical. You can get a great sector 1, great sector 2, but because sector 3 is incredibly difficult, chances you mess up the third sector are quite big. So yeah, I expect everyone on the mediums probably to go out again on their tires, and same for the soft runners, to be honest, because it is incredibly difficult. You need all the runs you can get in order to set your PB.
Definitely, yeah, this is a track where you really want to build confidence. It's so easy to invalidate around here and mess up the lap, like you say, especially in that final sector. So easy to just get on the power too early and really ruin your flow through that final sector. We're on board with Stumpy in the Alfa Romeo. He's not had the best of starts to seasons. He's had good pace, but it's just like with the likes of J. Luke and people like that, it's just not quite come together. 49.1 at the end of the second sector. Not too bad of a time so far. This will probably put him around to Jonas if he's able to hook up the final part of the lap. His Alfa Romeo teammates just crossed the line. That is Black Mamba. He's starting a lap in the Alfa Romeo. He's been moved down to reserve, I believe, as well as Black Mamba. Over the final chicane, he takes a lot of inside curb there. Bounces a little bit wide coming through the final corner. But here he comes up to the line. What's the time going to be for Stumpy? It's a 15 flat, so he's the fastest of the soft runners. He goes to the top of the timesheet. It's good lap from Stumpy.
Yeah, incredible lap, actually. And we haven't quite seen his pace as of in the season so far. He's rather been low or mid top 10 during the season, and now putting his car on provisional pole position is a great lap for Stumpy, and maybe looking quite strong right now for the race as well.
Yeah, looking very, very strong. YHYY crosses the line only 9th on those soft tyres, so I imagine he's probably backed off somewhere in the lap in order to maybe slow the time down. We've got Thorn and Yorno out on the soft tyres as well in the McLaren, so they're committing. A lot of people committing to the soft tyres, and that's one thing that's really key here. It's that tyre wear in the race is a really high problem, so trying to get those soft tyres to last long enough in the race is going to be key to a lot of these people's races, isn't it?
Yeah, because if you want to do a one-stop on from soft to hard, you really have to do at least 9 laps. And to understand, those soft tires probably are only quick for maybe 3 or 4 laps. So extending those by another 5 laps could be dangerous and could spin during the race. So yeah, it's going to be incredibly difficult if for the soft runners who are going to start inside the top 10 on the soft tires to actually make a one-stop work.
It'll be very, very difficult. Chill's crossed the line. He's not set another valid time yet, so he's crossed the line with an invalidated time. I believe Damon has as well. He has on the softs. This is a 15-1, so that would have put him third. Didn't quite see what Chill's time would be. Yorno's committing to a lap on the soft tyres, and it's a 21-1 in the first sector, so it's half a second up on his personal best at the moment, which I believe was medium tyres. Here comes Yorno then through the second sector, through turn 7 and 8. Very, very cautious on the apex of turn 7. Didn't want to get too early on the power and spin the car through turn 9. Actually very easy to spin there. It's kind of deceiving how easy it is to spin in that corner. Coming through to turn 10, 49.5 at the end of the second sector. Yorno not looking very confident here. This lap time is okay. It would put him near the top 5, but at the moment only at a 49.5 at the end of the second sector is not really front row sitting qualifying times, which is not what we're used to seeing from Yorno.
Yeah, we expect him to. He's of course a championship leader by 7 points. We expect him to see to finish inside the top 3 in qualifying wise quite often, and he does a 16 flat right now. And I don't know if he actually sandbagged on that lap, but at least setting a banker. But that is not what I'm expecting to see from Yorno. I think he can go much faster on those tires.
Yeah, we'll wait till the end of the qualifying session to reserve judgment on that one from Yorno. Mark has gone to 4th on his second lap on the medium tyres, so he's already taken a lap out of those tyres, as Maurice does a 14.8 on a set of soft tyres, so he's gone nearly 0.3 of a second clear of the rest of the field. That's a great lap from the man in the Mercedes. Much more confidence from him. His first race was obviously at the Netherlands last time out, and it didn't go too well for him in the end, but this is a bit of a confidence booster for him to be on provisional pole at the moment by nearly 0.3 over the field. But like I was saying, Mark has done a second lap on those medium tyres, and you really want to have the medium tyres as fresh as possible in the race to give them that much of an advantage over the soft tyres.
Yes, that is definitely the case, but he did a 15.2 on those tyres, and that is actually quite a good time on the mediums. I don't know if he's actually going to go out again, but that is quite a good lap time on the medium tyres, and he might actually start inside the top 10 with those lap times if no one else goes on the soft tyres.
Yeah, I imagine that, like you say, that would probably put him in the lower reaches of the top 10 once everyone has set a competitive time. We're still waiting for a lot of people to come out onto the track. Likes of Damon, Black Mamba, Caesar, Chill and Bree all have not set times yet, so we're waiting for them to set representative times. Same for a lot of people lower down like Legend, J-Loot, YHYY and Yorno. They've not really set competitive times yet, so we're just waiting to see where they filter through. Kind of in a little bit of a lull period here. We'll go on board with Black Mamba. He's just started his first run in qualifying and he's already on the medium tyres, so he obviously wants to start on these tyres for this race. Let's see what his time is like. Through the first 2 corners, a little bit ginger through turn 1, but nice and neat through turn 2 and then through turn 3 as well. A little bit wide of the apex, but that's not going to cost you too much time through that corner because it is easily flat. Through the end of the first sector, 21.2. Not a bad first sector from Black Mamba, not quite as fast as we've seen from some other people, but still a half decent first sector time to start the lap off. Here we go through the middle part of the lap now as well. Turn 5, so easy to lock up on. If you snatch a brake, it is so easy to do so. Coming through turn 7 and 8 now. Keeps it in 5th gear, doesn't go down to 4th. He doesn't want to have any wheel spin in the high rev range. Coming through turn 9, hooks the curve nicely on the inside and the exit of the corner as well. Coming now up to turn 10 hairpin, it's a 49.4 at the end of the second sector, so this is looking like it might be a high 15, so this might put him around the Edux Savage range if he's able to keep this final sector nice and neat through turn 12. coming up to turn 13. So easy to take too much inside sausage curb and run out wide and invalidate your time. Through the final chicane once again, takes a lot of sausage curb. We've seen a lot of people doing that so far in this session. It really has kind of slowed their runs down onto the straight. He's keeping the shortest one to the line. Black Mamba does 15.7. It's only 9th, but a high medium tyres. Not really seen that much pace for him so far this season.
Yeah, and as YHY sets a 15.6 goes into P9, and yeah, everyone on the medium tires is those times might get beaten by those who opt to go on the softs to maybe start inside the top 10. But it's going to be interesting to see. And Jay Luke is about to finish the lap. He's 3/10 up, but he's on the soft tires, and I don't know if this is a good lap time or not. Yeah, that's not a good lap time. It's 16 flat. He is well off Maurice, who's on the same tires. 1.2 second difference.
Wow.
It's going to be interesting to see, because Jay Luke, that is not a good time, and I'm not sure if he's going to go out on the mediums again. But it's
yeah, not quite a competitive time. It's the slowest of the competitive times we've had so far. Legend behind him on a 19.7. That's obviously not his fully competitive time that we can see from him. He's done a 49.3 at the end of the second sector on a set of mediums, so Legend is flying at the moment. We'll stay with him through the final sector. J. Cole went out onto the track on a set of medium tyres and invalidated his time, so I don't even know if J. Cole wants this. His best time is on the softs at the moment. I don't think he actually intentionally wanted to do that, because he's now on the mediums trying to improve his time and he can't do it. Here comes Legend through the final corner now. This could be one of the faster medium laps of the session. Here he comes, derating before the line, but it's a 15.3. He goes just behind Mark by less than a tenth of a second. Good lap from Legend.
Yeah, it's a great lap, just behind Mark, and it's inside the top 5. It's going to be interesting to see once everyone goes on the final lap where he ends up qualifying, or when he ends up on the grid, sorry.
Yeah, Thor goes into 6th, meanwhile on a set of soft tyres. Damon goes 10th on a set of mediums on a 15.6, just ahead of YHYY. So not too bad a lap from Damon. He probably would want to be a bit higher up on the grid, but I'm sure he'd want to be higher than 5th on the grid, which he's qualified in all of the first 4 rounds so far this season. But 10th is not quite where he'd want to be at the moment, but he's obviously going for the alternate strategy. Make that 11th now, as that's Bree that jumps up to the front of the field in the Renault. He goes 15.2 on a set of soft tyres. So all of the top 4 at the moment are on the soft tyres. Legend and Mark are the first people on the mediums, and then we have 2 soft runners in Thorn and Sejonis, and then Educk is on the medium tyres in 9th place. Savage in 10th is also on the medium tyres at the moment, but he's left the garage on a set of softs. So a real mixed bag in the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting in the race to see if those soft runners can actually make it to at least lap 9 and make the soft hard strategy work. It's going to be incredibly difficult, because those tires are not a great race tire, and they'll probably be swarmed by a couple of medium runners. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see. As Tolls, that's a 15 flat. That's a good lap.
On his second lap, I think that's on his second lap on the same set of tyres, if I'm correct. So that's a brilliant lap from Thor to go second place on that set of tyres. Good lap from him. He goes just under half a tenth quicker than some people, but still no one within 2 tenths of Maurice at the moment. He's going to be he's very comfortable at the front of the field at the moment. We've got Bree, I think he's coming into the pit lane, so he's not going to be completing his lap. Stumpy is on a lap at the moment, so we'll see if he can improve, but he misses the final chicane. Too late of a turn in for the first part of the chicane, and he's run over the curb, so he's not going to be able to complete that lap time. So he's not going to be improving on 3rd for the time being, unless he can get back out on track in time, which is very touch and go at this point in time, whether he can actually get back out. And he's actually retired, so he isn't going to be coming back out onto the track. So Stumpy can't improve on 3rd place at the moment. Sejonis is on a lap in the Mercedes. Let's see if they can make it a Mercedes front row lockout at the moment. We've had enough of it in real life. We don't need it in the game as well. But here comes Sejonis at the end of the second sector. 48.9 by the end of that sector. So it's a good time so far. 2 and a bit tenths up in his personal best as he comes through the final sector. Really revving it out in 4th gear there. Didn't want to change up into 5th. A little bit sideways coming out of 12, but not too much time lost there. Now coming down into the final chicane. Revving it out in 3rd once again. Doesn't touch the sausage curves like we've seen a lot of people do. Comes through the final corner. It looked like a very good final sector from Sejonis. Here he comes to the line. What is the time? 14.811. He goes 100th of a second slower than his teammate, and it's Mercedes front row lockout at the moment.
That is a great lap. Mercedes looking incredibly strong right now on those soft tires, and as everyone's looking to go out on their final run, and I see most of the drivers are on soft tires. Yeah. That's quite interesting.
We've only got Chill and Yorno at the moment on the mediums. They're the only ones that have gone back out on those medium tyres. So I have to wait and see whether they can improve on currently 15th and 17th. Caesar hasn't left the pits at all, so he will be starting right at the back of the field. That's a late qualies join for Caesar. It has cost him again. I think this is the third time maybe this has happened this season where he's joined quali late and has to start at the back of the field. We saw him though in Australia work his way from 20th to 2nd, so you never know what can happen, and he could probably end up right at the front of the field, knowing how Caesar's worked his way through so far. On board with Jay Luke. Jay Luke's gone off the road at turn 4 and he's put it in the wall. Yeah. Really spun across the track and put it in the wall. So Jay Luke not going to improve on 16th place. He's really struggling for confidence on this game at the moment. He hasn't really hooked it up at any point so far this season. We've got the Red Bull and the Williams of TDB and Legend coming around to start their final runs. So in behind them, we'll have to wait and see who's coming up to the line. Black Mamba is coming up to start a lap, and I think we've got Maurice coming up to start a lap as well. And then I believe Mark is out on the soft. So Mark and Legend are both out on the soft tyres. So this is interesting to see that the lead medium runners are now going for the softs. They don't want to maybe start on those medium tyres anymore, knowing how many people have committed to the softs at this point.
Yeah, or they could be trying to cover themselves just in case they might start outside the top 10 to make sure they actually do start inside the top 10 with those soft tyres. It's going to be very interesting to see though, and J. Cole has unfortunately invalidated his lap time. He did a 14.7 that would have put him on pole by 1,000. Invalidated.
Wow, he's going to be frustrated with that as well because he will be starting on the soft tyres and in 5th instead of on pole, which was what it could have been. Chill crosses the line and invalidated his only run on the medium tyres. So he's only 17th on the grid. He's going to be really, really upset with that lap. Starting on the back row, Yorno's done the same thing. So Yorno on the medium tyres invalidates his run. So they've left it really, really late. They are crossing the line, but I think they're finishing the session. Yeah, the session's over. So they're not going to get another run in unless... We'll run on board with Yorno as he comes into turn 1. We have seen it before where they've started laps pretty late, but that looks like AI to me. So both Yorno and Chill, two fast drivers who could be right at the front of the field, left it right till the last moment to put their medium tyre laps in, and they couldn't do it. They ran out of time. Right at the end as Maurice does a 14.3. Wow, that is an incredible time. Half a second quicker than anyone else, and no one else at the moment is currently on a lap. So Maurice... He was on pole by 100th of a second. He is now 0.5 of a second clear. What a lap for Maurice.
That is incredible. He definitely capitalized. 0.4 clear. That is insane. And with the top 2, with Caesar starting 18th and Jorno starting 15th, this could be quite a fun race, I imagine, because those two are great race pace-wise. They have to make up to the field in order to salvage some points. It's going to be very interesting to see.
It's going to, yeah, like you say, it's going to be very interesting to see how they work their way forwards. There's a lot of big names right at the back of the field. Look, we've got Caesar and Chill on the back row. Then it's J. Luke and Yorno. Then it's TDB and Black Mamba. Then YHYY and Damon, and they're all outside the top 10. So a lot of big names starting outside the top 10. And we've got a lot of people at the front of the field that haven't been at the front of the field yet. Jonas is obviously a reserve. Maurice at the front of the field for the first time this season. Thor's in 3rd on the grid in his first race in LOE, which is great to see. Stumpy's in 4th as well, and Bree's up in 6th. So this has been a real switch around in qualifying.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And then Mark, Legend, Eduk, Savage, all starting... I don't know if actually Savage is starting on the soft tyres, or medium. He's starting on medium tyres as well. So 7, 8, 9, 10, all starting on the mediums. And I imagine some people outside the top 10 might go on the hard tyres as well.
Yeah, I imagine the likes of Chill and Caesar will go for the hard tyres. They've got nothing to lose at the back of the field. They've got to try something different. Trying to run the same strategy as everyone else in front may cost you quite a bit of time here because it is very easy to get stuck in traffic around this track. But yeah, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th all going to be starting on the mediums like you say. But both Mark and Savage have already done 2 qualifying laps on those set of medium tyres. So they're already at a disadvantage to Legend and Eduk on those mediums. Just going to read you off the rest of the field though, as we finish the qualifying round. So it's Maurice on pole by 4.5 of a second. What a lap for Maurice in the end. To join us on the front row alongside him in the second Mercedes, Thorl in 3rd on debut in the McLaren. Good result from him ahead of Stumpy 4th, J. Cole 5th, Bree 6th. They are the 6 drivers that have committed to the soft tyres for the start of the race. Mark is the lead medium runner in 7th ahead of Legend 8th, Eduk 9th, Savage rounding off the top 10. Then it's Damon, YHYY, Black Mamba, TDB, Yorno, J. Luke, Chill and Caesar round off the grid at the back of the field. This is shaping up to be a pretty interesting race.
Yeah, let's see if the top six can hold off those charging medium runners in the race. It's going to be incredibly interesting to see if they can make the soft hard strategy work and keep those medium runners behind.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what they can do. I'll have to wait and see as well what the weather's like for the race and what strategies people go on, like you say, because if there's any sort of weather, I was about to say if there's any sort of weather going to play any part, but it doesn't look like that's the case. It's very sunny Spain, as per usual. It's going to be a pretty sunny race so far, so it looks like a lot of people are obviously going to be starting for the mediums outside the top 10. But if you were starting outside the top 10, what tyre strategy would you go for?
I would go for the hard medium tire strategy because I believe those medium tires are so much faster than the hard tires in the end of the race that it'll be quite easy to overtake some of those drivers. And those hard tires are beautiful as a race tire, so it's going to be very interesting what everyone outside the top 10 is going to go on. I personally will go for the hards, but it's going to be interesting to see what everyone is going on. What would you do?
I probably agree with you with that one. I'd go for the hard tyres as well, just because, like you say, they are a very good race tyre. They're very consistent, and then you need to overtake around this track. You really need a pace advantage on the guys in front of you. So having those medium tyres as that advantage would really help you out. Let's have a look what people have gone for outside the top 10. So outside the top 10, Damon in 11th has gone for the mediums, which is very understandable. He's the lead person outside the top 10 on the alternate strategy, so he's gone for those. White and Black Mamba, 12th and 13th, have gone for the hards. TDB in 14th has gone for the mediums. Yorno and J Luke have gone for the hards in 15th and 16th, and then Chill and Caesar on the back row of the grid have gone for the medium tyres. So a real split of strategies.
Yeah, I mean, if the hard runners can stick with those medium runners, then they'll be in a great position by the end of the race because they will have a fresh medium set and they'll be incredibly quick and probably will look to overtake those on the hards at the end of the race.
Definitely. Look out for White YY. He's the lead hard runner in this race, and see what progress he can make on the first lap, whether he can hold 12th, or maybe he can gain places himself as well. Have to wait and see what he can do. I think at the moment, he's been the king of the alternate strategy so far this season. He's been on the alternate strategy, I think, in every race so far. So he's used to starting these races on the harder compounded tyres. So let's see what he can do. Further up the field, though, the top 6 on soft tyres. Do you really see any of these guys in the top 6 being able to make this one-stop strategy work?
If you have great tire wearers, because those who are running on the pad and use ABS will have an incredibly difficult time to get those soft tires to lap 9. It's gonna be, I'm actually not quite sure if they'll make it work because it is probably the most difficult strategy on the calendar so far. So it's gonna be very interesting to see. But it's in front row lookout for the Mercedes drivers. It's gonna be interesting to see if they can hold their lead through turn 1 because it's an incredibly long straight for turn 1, so it's going to be interesting to see who gets the better start and who gets ahead.
Yeah, definitely. It's a long run down and a short braking zone, so people are going to want to get the move done before the corner. We'll have to wait and see what everyone is going to be able to do, but everyone is lining up on the grid. Here we go then for the start of the Spanish round. 5th round of the season. Can Yorno get back to the front of the field and hold on to his championship lead? His closest championship rival, Caesar, is in 18th. His second closest is Jacob in 5th, so he's got a real advantage here. Real opportunity to make hay while the sun shines and catch back up to Yorno at the head of the championship. Here we go then, 33 laps ahead of us. Who's going to get the best start off the front row? Which one of the Mercedes is going to be leading down into turn 1? Is it Maurice? Is it Sir Jonas? The lights are out. It's a little bit of a long hole, but away we go. And it looks a fairly even start at the front row. It looks like Maurice is going to hold it down into turn 1. The second row a little bit slow off the line, as was Bree. Bree's already dropped a couple places off the line. Down into turn 1 though, Maurice clearly ahead. Inside of Thor, as is Jay Cole. Thor's lost 2 places off the start. We've got a little bit of contact in the background, but it looks fairly clean through the first 2 corners. Edux had a good start on the medium tyres. He's up to 7th. Breeze down to 9th. He's had a woeful start. From 6th on the grid, he just did not leave the line. Damon's up to 10th. Savage has dropped to 11th place. Yorno's up to 12th on the hard tyres. He's had a great start, but it's Maurice and Jonas out in front. Perfect start for the Mercedes drivers and a very clean start further throughout the field. Black Mamba and J Luke back in the field. Caesar and Chill working their way forwards nicely on those medium tyres. And Edux now passing Mark before turn 7.
Around the outside, beautiful move.
Beautiful move from Edux, like you say. Oh, a big contact in the background. That's White YY. White YY spun completely on his own, I think. I don't think there was any help involved in that one. On the hard tyres, he spun coming out of turn 7 and hit the wall. And he's out of the race already. And we've got a full safety car. So a full safety car on lap 1. And that is a massive problem for the soft runners. It's too early for them to come into the pit lane, surely.
But this could be their savior as well, because they'll now probably get those soft tires to lap 9. So it's going to be very interesting to be honest, because with the safety car coming out, it is a burden because they can't pit. But with
we've got a couple of people in. So Jonas and Stumpy are into the pit. So all three of them have gone in from the soft tyres, as has Bree down in 9th. So they don't want to run the soft tyres any longer. So only Maurice and J. Cole have committed to the soft tyres now. They've all come in. So Jonas has got the medium tyres on. Let's see what everyone else has gone for. So Jonas on the mediums. Let's see what Bree goes for. I think it's a set of mediums for Stumpy and Thor as well. And Bree as well. So they've all gone for a set of mediums. They won't get those to the end. So they'll have to do another pit stop in this race. But that puts them now right at the back of the queue.
Yeah, but a very interesting decision to pit because, of course, you have less laps on actual race trim on those soft tires. So getting those soft tires to lap 9 is definitely possible. But Maurice and Jake are the only ones who stayed out, and it's going to be very interesting to see if they can manage to get those soft tires to lap 9 and hold off the charging medium runs behind them. With Edok jumping from 9th, I believe, all the way up to 3rd now. Great start for him. And Mark from 7th to 4th. It's going to be incredibly interesting to see how it all pans out. And Chill and Yorno, both, I think, 17th and 15th. And Chill's now all the way up into 9th, I believe, on my screen. Yeah. And Yorno in P10. Incredible start, both by those drivers. And Caesar from 18th on the grid to 11th as well.
Yeah, pretty much everyone from 2nd to 12th has gained places off the start. Edok has gained 6 places, 8 places off the line from Chill, from the back row of the grid to 9th, an amazing start for him. As for Caesar as well, up 7 places from the very back of the grid, 18th on the grid up to 11th. And obviously, looking out for these guys as well, Chill's on the mediums, Caesar's on the mediums, but Yorno is on the hard tyres and he's currently running 10th. He's had a good start as well. Avoided all the carnage, I believe. Someone has picked up a 5-second time penalty for contact behind the safety car, but I cannot remember who that was. I couldn't quite see who it was that picked that time penalty up, so someone will be slow in the pit stops when it comes around to it. But looking at the people at the front of the field, Edok is the big mover. He's so confident at first, and he just made me stick when no one else.
Yeah, especially that move around the outside of turn 7. That was an incredible move, and I believe Caesar's the one who got the 5-second time penalty. So that will definitely harm him come pit stop time. That is incredibly annoying for him because he made up quite a few positions, 7 in total, and now with that 5-second time penalties, that's going to cost him dearly during the pit stops, unfortunately.
Definitely. Maurice and J. Cole then, the only 2 people still out on the soft tyres. Maurice, a great start after a dominant qualifying. Great start from him. He led easily into turn 1. J. Cole up to 2nd now. And like you say, it is now going to be easier for them to get further into the race. So they can possibly make that one-stop strategy work if they can go to lap 9 or 10 on these soft tyres. Prime opportunity for J. Cole, though, with his closest championship rivals in 10th and 11th at the moment. Yeah,
he needs to win this race, or at least finish above those 2 drivers to make make inroads on the guys ahead. And this is a great starting position or place for him to be right now. He is on the soft tires though, and he will have to fend off those medium runners behind. But if he can manage to keep those soft tires from overheating and keeping them consistent, he'll have a great shot at a podium. And definitely if he tries the soft hard strategy as the safety car comes in this lap.
Yeah, safety car in. Go for the restart of the race. Maurice now controls the field, so we'll have to wait and see when he goes for the safety car restart. He's slowing it right down in the final sector before we get going. Obviously got to wait for the safety car to get back in the pit lane before Maurice can get going again, so he's got to wait for that safety car to be around the chicane and in the pit lane before he can go. He's keeping speed, so the field is a little bit strung out as we get going. It's a good idea to strung the field out onto that long pit, down into the chicane. Maurice coming into the chicane as it goes. Caesar's picked up another time penalty for with J. Luke, and Maurice is going to go now, so he's going to go on the chicane. Good restart for Maurice, but he slides! Massive slide in the final corner. He just about holds it, well held, but J. Cole's here to react. Is he going to try to get the lead away from Maurice into turn 1? Maurice all the way to the inside of the track. Does J. Cole go all the way around the outside around turn 1? He's got the momentum. Has he got the brakes? He's really late on the brakes, but locks up. Maurice has more momentum through turn 2. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. J. Cole slides. Edok has to get out of it to avoid him running into the back of the racing point. Maurice, a massive moment out of the final corner, but lucky to get away with it. He holds on to the race lead. Further back, Legend and Damon have been caught napping here. Savage down the inside of Damon into turn 4 in the Haas. Damon slides on the exit of the corner, so he can't get the power down. Savage reclaims that 6th place ahead of Damon, who passed him on the first lap. So Damon and Legend really caught napping at the safety car restart, and they've already lost time to the guys in front.
That's I don't know how Maurice managed to save that car and keep the position, but that was incredible. The slide out of the final corner and Jaco putting pressure on him just about doesn't have the grip in the room to make the move stick. But it's the top two hold their position on those soft tires. They need to.
Oh, we've got a car off the road. That's Tejonis. Tejonis, front row sitter in the medium tyres, has spun coming out of turn 9 and hit the barrier quite a way down the straight. He hasn't got any damage, so he's very lucky to get away with it. But he now drops right to the back of the field after his spin. It's gone really from bad to worse for Tejonis in this race. Let's hope that he can get back to the front. He's going to be hoping for a late safety car, but at the end of the first safety car lap, Maurice, fastest lap of the race, is already 8/10 clear of J. Cole out in front. Eduk clinging onto the back of them in third. Legend just caught these guys again very, very quickly. He's in fifth, and then there's near a 2-second gap back to Savage, who is currently in sixth. Thal sets the fastest lap of the race in McLaren, currently running in 15th place as Caesar and Yorno side by side. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Yorno trying to fend off Caesar and does so for the time being. Yorno holds on to 10th place, but already losing touch with that queue of medium cars in front.
Yeah, and Yorno needs to hold Caesar behind because Yorno is on those hard tires, and he needs to actually cling on to the back of Chill, ideally, to basically stick with them in the DRS train. But he's lost out so far, just outside the 1 second range, just outside of DRS. I don't think DRS is active just now, but he is getting pressured a lot by Caesar on those medium tires, and it's going to be interesting to see if Caesar can make the move stick, because he needs to make the move stick in order to make up some time, and especially with those 2 5-second stop-go penalties, it's going to be a difficult race for Caesar to actually make this work.
Yeah, he's going to have to really he's going to have to put the hammer down. He's going to want to try and get past Yorno as quickly as possible, so that when he has to take those 5-second penalties, he's not losing as many places as he would at this current moment. J. Luke on the other person on the set of hard tyres, clinging onto the back of these guys as well. Maurice, another fastest lap, a 19 flat. Good lap from him. He's nearly broken DRS ranges. Here comes Legend. Legend on the back of Mark, looking to the inside, but Mark's in the slipstream of Eduk and has good straight line speed. Mark able to hold on to the place going into turn 1, but Legend looking the fastest of the medium runners at the moment, crawling all over the back of the Renault. He's put his overtake on for the exit at turn 3. Coming up to turn 4, he's looking to the inside. Mark not able to defend the line. Here comes Legend down the inside. Slight bit of contact, but Legend's got the momentum through the corner. Mark will have the inside line though for turn 5. Mark really early on the brakes. Legend shuts the door. Great move from Legend, working his way past Mark and up into 4th place.
And that's incredibly crucial because now he'll be able to challenge Eduk maybe on the same tires, and he is looking incredibly fast on those medium tires. It's going to be very interesting to see. He's on the better strategy to those ahead with the top 2, of course, and he's looking really fast now for a great finishing position. It's going to be very interesting to see, as Savage has lost a bit more time, and Stumpy is out of the race. Turn 9, another one.
Yeah, another one falls victim, and it's a virtual safety car then. So our second safety car of the race, virtual one this time round. Stumpy, the second person to fall foul of turn 9. This time he's actually upside down in the middle of the track. He's had a massive off. He's really, really hit the barrier really hard, and he's back in the middle of the road upside down.
As our race leader enters the pits.
Wow. Maurice into the pit lane. That's surely too early though for this one-stop strategy. Let's see what tyres Maurice goes on to. It's a set of the hard tyres, but he surely can't get those hard tyres. What is that? How many laps is that? That's 25 laps in this race, is that? 25 or 26 laps for those hard tyres. That is too tall an order surely for Maurice.
Yeah, especially with lap 9 already being quite difficult to make it to the end on those hard tyres. Lap 7 would probably be incredibly difficult as Chill gets a drive-through penalty, unfortunately. Yeah, and Maurice in traffic came up behind Black Mamba and now in front of it in P14. He has some clear, and he really needs to push on those hard tyres, because I don't believe he'll make it to the end on these hard tyres, and if he pushes right now he might be lucky with a safety car or whatever. But lap 6, from lap 6 to lap 33 on those tyres is going to be an insane task for the Dutchman.
That is a really, really big ask, and it puts J. Cole in the lead of the race now, and he's the only person now out on the soft tyres. He's holding Eduk back at the moment. Eduk isn't crawling all over the back of J. Cole at the moment, so J. Cole's still holding relatively good pace on these tyres. Legend are in behind as well. They're dropping Savage, who's dropping Damon ever so slightly. Chill in behind has a drive-through penalty. If it doesn't rain, it pours for Chill the moment. It's really not going his way in Division 2 or 3. Is he going to dive into the pit lane and serve his drive-through now? He's not. He's going to stay out on the track. He's looking very close to the back of Damon, actually, so he might go for a move on the AlphaTauri man. Does he look to the inside at turn 1? Damon's going to defend the line, as he knows, stays on the racing line. Chill's going to breeze past down the pit straight and take that place, but it's all really in vain, because Chill will have to come into the pit lane within the next 2 laps to serve his drive-through penalty. So Chill moves up to 6th. Damon really slides through turn 2, but just about holds on to the car. Chill up to 6th, but it's not really going to really worth anything anymore.
Yeah, and Caesar just got past Yorno as well now on the medium tires. He's 2 seconds behind TDB on the same tire, so he really needs to gain time on the cars ahead. And I believe J. Cole's now is the time that J. Cole's going to be struggling on those soft tires. As he gets a 3-second time penalty, that shows that those soft tires don't have the grip anymore.
Yeah.
He's being pressured by E-Duck.
A great move from TDB down the inside of Damon at turn 7. He caught Damon napping coming out of turn 5. Shot it down the inside and Damon couldn't do anything about it. To TDB upper place. Damon really struggling at the moment on these medium tyres. He just hasn't got the grip. He picks up a time penalty on the inside of turn 9 as well. So he's now down to 8th place. It's his teammate directly behind him, and I imagine he probably won't fight his teammate too hard. Looking at the front of the field, is J. Cole staying out another lap? He is. E-Duck is closing in though, and E-Duck has saved up pretty much all of his point. J. Cole has about 30%. E-Duck has about 70%, so E-Duck has saved a lot up, but he's using it in defense of Legend. Legend has no ERS himself, but Legend looking the fastest of the medium runners at the moment. And if Legend can pass E-Duck, surely he can win this race.
Yeah, but if E-Duck uses a little bit more of his ERS, because he's on 60% right now, that's incredibly healthy percentage in this point in the race. And with J. Cole ahead of him on 13%, and Legend and Mark also on 13%, it's going to be, he has the massive ERS advantage, and if he just uses a little bit of it, he might be able to even extend the gap out to a 1 second range out of the DRS. So it's going to be incredibly interesting to see, but he needs to overtake J. Cole. If J. Cole doesn't pit this lap, he needs to get the move done, because those soft tires aren't fast enough, and with the dirty air, he is losing quite a bit of time, as Savage is reining in the top 4 a little bit.
Yeah, he's taken it half a second out of Mark on this lap alone, so Savage is really upping the pace. Chill following with him, but obviously Chill with the drive-through penalty that he will have to serve on this lap, I believe. Behind him, TDB's dropped out of DRS range to these guys in front, so he's on his own in 7th. Damon just within DRS range in 8th, and Caesar catching up to these guys in 9th. And dragging Yorno and J-Luke with him at the moment. J-Luke not doing too badly. On well, as J. Cole is into the pit lane then, end of lap 9, J. Cole is into the pit lane, so he's in, as is Chill for his drive-through penalty, so both racing points in at the same time. That is good window though for J. Cole to put the hard tyres on. He's done a very good job at keeping out the front on those worn soft tyres, and he's in a very good spot here to try and win this race.
Yeah, if he can manage those hard tyres and not get a punch by the end of the race, he is in an incredible position to get a decent finishing, decent points paying result, because he is just out in front of Tejonis. Tejonis around the outside. Incredible move by Tejonis, as J. Cole still has a pick on the inside, fights back. That is incredible drive from both drivers, and J. Cole, I believe, has made the move stick. That is very, very feisty move from J. Cole to keep that position, as Tejonis tried to go around the outside of turn 1, and J. Cole having none of it, going up the inside of turn 3, having the grip on those fresh, hard tires, and he's going to have to push. Maybe you even use Chill, who's on older medium tires. I think Chill might let him go for the race, because J. Cole wants to win this race, and he has a decent chance of it as of right now.
He does have a very, very good shot, and he could either, like you say, Chill could let him through, or Chill could pull away with him. Have to wait and see what they do. Looking at Maurice has obviously made his stop in this race as well. He's about 5.5 seconds clear of J. Cole at the moment, nearly 6. So he's gained a lot of time in that pit stop under the virtual safety car, but his tyres are they're going to be very close to, or if not right in puncture window by the time we get to the final 5 laps of the race. So Maurice is going to be hoping to maybe either push really hard or do some tyre management to maybe try and get to the end. Looking back at the front of the field though, even with that ERS advantage, it's come down to about 50% ERS now that E-Duck has. Still can't pull away from Legend. Legend is crawling all over the back of that Ferrari man, but doesn't have the ERS to make the move stick at the moment. He's definitely the faster driver, but poor ERS management means that he can't overtake. Yeah,
maybe Legend he could go for an undercut attempt, maybe pit, instead of pit lap 14, maybe pit lap 13, and get that undercut on E-Duck ahead. And he is looking incredibly fast, as he's dropped Mark outside the 1 second range. He is incredibly fast right now. Both the Ferrari and the Red Bull looking quite good, but Legend is literally crawling up to the back of Edok in the final sector, and he might get the move done on the straight. He is so close. He's within 4/10ths, so it's going to be interesting to see. Edok doesn't use his ERS as of right now, but he does put it on right now. Of course, Legend with DRS is closing in a little bit, but he doesn't have the ERS, as you said, to make the overtake stick. He is looking incredibly fast, but doesn't have the ERS, unfortunately, to make the move.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to go for the undercut to try and make this one stick. Stays in behind Edok for the time being. Mark just within DRS range coming across the line, so he was able to stick with him. Savage is closing in the Haas. Don't rule him out of this one just yet. He's doing a very good job at closing in on these guys. Behind them, TDB must have made a mistake somewhere, because he's now 3 seconds behind Savage, and Damon has re-caught him. So TDB's obviously made some sort of small error somewhere in that Williams that's allowed the AlphaTauri man to catch back up. And after Caesar has passed Yorno, he's not really done much since then. He's broken DRS to Yorno, and he's caught Damon, but I'm not seeing the progress from Caesar that we've seen so far in other races this season.
Yeah, and of course with those 5-second stop-go penalties, it's going to be a difficult race for Caesar, I imagine, because he probably, with those 2 5-second time penalties, will likely finish outside the top 12 and not score a point, unfortunately, as he has a big slide on the exit of the corner. And yeah, this is going to be very interesting, as Legend is again incredibly close to the back of Edok.
Yeah, Mark is the first person to pull the trigger then. He's into just followed it in. They obviously, both of these guys did an extra lap on these medium tyres in qualifying, and they're both in at the same time. So Mark and Savage and Caesar are all into the pit lane to serve their pit stop in this race. They should be able to get the medium tyres to the end of this race fairly easily. They might be within puncture window come in the final 2 laps of the race, but this should be a fairly easy one stop for them from here on out. Let's see where they come out. Chill sets the fastest lap of the race. Caesar serving his first of his time penalties. I don't know if he's able to serve 10 seconds at once or 2 5 seconds. We'll have to wait and see. Mark comes out still ahead of Savage, but right behind this queue of cars. So Jonas has just passed Black Mamba, but Black Mamba is really, really slow at the moment on 12 lap old hard tyres. Mark and Savage are behind him, and behind Sir Jonas, Jacob and Phil, all in a queue.
Yeah, Mark and Savage really need to make these moves stick when they have the chance, because they are in immense traffic with Jonas, Black Mamba, all having quite old medium and hard tires. So if they have to make the move stick quite easily, and Mark goes a little bit wide into turn 7, he won't make the move stick on this DRS straight. It's going to be incredibly difficult for him to overtake, because Black Mamba, who as I say that, is just outside the 1 second range of Jonas ahead. I was about to say that if Black Mamba has the DRS, it's going to be incredibly difficult for Mark to overtake, even on those fresh tires. But Black Mamba has fallen outside of the DRS range, so this will make it a little bit easier for Mark to make the move down into turn 1, and I imagine he'll make it quite easily, use a little bit of ERS to get past the Alfa Romeo driver.
Meanwhile, Edok and Damon into the pit lane, so Legend stays out for another lap, as does TDB. They're continuing on. Here goes Mark then on Black Mamba. Black Mamba knows this isn't his battle, he doesn't fight it. Pulls out and past. Edok, meanwhile, out of the pit lane. He's going to be just ahead of J. Cole, is he? But Edok really, really late on the brakes in turn 1. J. Cole trying to go round the outside. J. Cole retakes the race lead from Edok. It was really close, but Edok was too late on the brakes in turn 1 and actually ended up losing the place to J. Cole. So J. Cole's able to hold on to that net race lead, but Edok, 4 lap fresher tyres than the Racing Point man, is going to be crawling all over the back of him. Mark has passed Black Mamba, and Savage has caught this queue of cars as well. Damon a bit further back in the AlphaTauri, but J. Cole just able to hold on to the net race lead.
This is incredibly crucial for J. Cole to hold Edok behind, give him the dirty air, and not use those fresh tyres to call up to the back of him and overtake him. It's going to be very interesting to see, as J. Cole actually has 8% ERS, so if J. Cole actually needs his teammate right now to maybe give him the ERS, but I don't think that's going to happen. And with Edok having 60% more or 40% more ERS than J. Cole, it's going to be likely in quite an easy overtake for the Ferrari man.
Yeah, Legend and TDB meanwhile into the pit lane, so let's see where Legend comes out relative to these guys on track. Legend was directly behind Edok when they came into the pit lane. Maurice, I believe, is making a move on J. Cole. Maurice up into 4th place, so he's doing a good job on these tyres. Where does Legend come out relative to these guys? He's going to be ahead, actually. Legend has managed to pull the overcut off. Edok cruises past J. Cole into turn 1, but Legend is going to overcut the pair of them, is he? Oh my word. J. Cole and Edok so close to each other in turn 2. but Educk just able to pull the move off. J. Cole trying to do the switchback on the exit of turn 3, but doesn't have the ERS or the speed to pull it off. But Legend has pulled the overcut on the pair of them and is now the net race leader.
That is incredibly strong. Making overcut work around this track is quite difficult, but he had the best advantage that we've seen all throughout the first stint on those medium tires on Educk, and now he's managed to overcut the Ferrari man, and looks like he's cruising to a race victory, baby. Let's knock on wood, make sure he actually finishes the race before that, but he is incredibly fast right now, and he's 8/10 clear already of the Ferrari man behind.
Yeah. Let's see if he can pull away and break that DRS range, because if Educk is able to stay within DRS range, Educk has still a lot more ERS than Legend does, so he has that advantage in his pocket. Looking further down the field, Mark is ahead of Black Mamba. Savage hasn't been able to pass Black Mamba yet, so he's a little bit stuck here, and Damon is catching these guys hands over fist. TDB has lost a lot of time somewhere. He's lost about 5 seconds to Damon, so I don't know whether TDB also had some sort of 5-second time penalty in the pit stops, and that's why he's dropped further back. We've got Chill into the pit lane for his first proper stop in this race. Thor in for the second time. So obviously pitted early. He's come out on another set of medium tyres. So let's see where he comes out. Thor is actually going to come out ahead of TDB. So Thor's come out just behind Damon and is on a fresh set of medium tyres. So he's in a really good spot here to maybe steal a top 5 finish.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see though if he can manage to get those medium tyres to the end of the race, because it is quite a few laps. He has to do, I think, 18 laps on those tyres, or yeah, that's quite or 18, 15. My quick maths are quite horrible, to be honest. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, and he has those fresh tyres, so we were looking to make some moves stick, as Savage has gone past Black Mamba on the previous lap, overtaking him on the DRS straight, and now 1.1 seconds behind Mark. He needs to get in that DRS range to stick with the guys ahead, as Legend 1.2 seconds clear of Educk. He's looking incredibly fast on those hard tyres.
Looking very, very strong. He's pulling away. He's broken that DRS range, which is so crucial around this track. Such a long pit straight. So DRS is very, very powerful here. But he's broken that gap. Breeze into the pit lane, meanwhile, from his set of medium tyres. So he's going to go on probably to another set of mediums, I believe. Let's see what he puts on and where he comes out relative to the pace in front. Looking at the front of the field, Yorno is still out on the track. He obviously started on the hard tyres. So we'll have to wait and see when he comes in. He'll probably come in around lap 19 for a set of medium tyres. We'll have to see where he comes out on the pack. He'll probably come out quite close to his teammate, actually. They were very, very close on track. So I imagine Yorno will probably come out just behind or maybe just in front of his teammate, who is obviously closing in on Damon. And Damon's closing in on Black Mamba. Savage is trying to close in on Mark. And the good thing for Savage at the moment is that there's a massive queue forming behind Educk. Educk has been at the front, but throughout this entire race, queues have just been forming behind him. And he's not quite got the outright pace to really pull away from these guys.
Yeah, but he does have the pace to just about defend from the guys behind.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when Legend overtook him or overcut him in the pits, that has cost him maybe a race win. But looking good, and he's ahead of J. Cole. And he has more ERS than J. Cole, but the advantage he had with ERS has basically gone, because he only has 15% more than J. Cole has, so that's not enough. And if he gets a 3-second time plan, that will harm him, unfortunately, in the end of the race results. But he has the pace to keep the cars behind, but he doesn't have the pace to stick with Legend, unfortunately.
Yeah, Legend pulling away and closing in on J. Luke. He's trying to make a move on J. Luke on track. Obviously, don't forget about Maurice in this one. Maurice obviously pitted a little bit earlier than everyone else, but he is still technically our net race leader once Yorno comes into the pit lane. But like we said earlier on, it's going to be a tall order for Maurice to get those tyres to the end of the race. So he's either going to have to really, really back off and manage them, or push like hell and put another set of mediums or maybe another set of softs on at the end of the race and try and come back through the field, which is looking increasingly difficult at the moment with the queue that is forming. Looking further down the field as well, a bit further down. One thing to look out for is penalties here. Obviously, penalties are a pretty big thing, as Chilled is a 17.6 on a set of hard tyres. That's a brilliant lap time from Chill. So currently sat in 16th, though, last of the runners. Really what could have been for him. Thor has passed Damon, so Thor is now ahead of the AlphaTauri man, up into 11th place, and only 1.5 seconds behind Black Mamba. Black Mamba yet to pit in this race, but then just in front of Black Mamba is this whole queue of cars. So Thor is really closing in on this battle for the podium.
Yeah, he's really fast on those medium tyres, and I'd be interested to see if he can actually make it to the end on these tyres, because they'll drop off quite massively, as will the hard tyres, I imagine. But it's going to be interesting to see, because there's quite a big train behind the Ferrari of Educk.
Yeah, Legend has now closed into DRS range of J. Luke, so let's see if he goes past J. Luke, moves all the way to the right-hand side to defend the line. Where does Legend go? Legend doesn't really have any ERS to overtake this. So Jonas has come into the pit lane for the second time this race. Legend going to the outside, but Legend with no ERS can't make an easy move on J-Luke. So J-Luke holds on to third place for the time being, and this is going to allow Educk to catch back up a little bit. Legend trying to maybe get the move done into turn 4. He's on his ERS, but he just doesn't really have a lot of straight line speed to get the move done, and he's still stuck behind J-Luke. J-Luke runs a little bit wide through turn 4. J-Luke might touch the grass a little bit on the exit of the corner. He doesn't. He holds the inside line for turn 5. Where is Legend? Legend can't get the move done. Tried the crossover, but got caught out by J-Luke's slow apex speed. So Legend stuck behind the Williams man, and this is bringing Educk back into DRS range.
Yes, this is incredibly crucial that Legend overtakes him on this DRS straight in order to maybe have a chance of keeping Educk outside his DRS. But J-Luke using his ERS and keeping the Red Bull man behind, and this has definitely helped Educk right now, as he is definitely inside DRS of the Red Bull man.
Yeah, Legend with that poor ERS management means he can't make moves stick. Thorn meanwhile's past Black Mamba already, as Black Mamba's off the road. Black Mamba's sideways through turn 11. I think he's kept it out of the wall. I'm not quite sure he has kept it out of the wall, but he is running really slowly, so he'll probably be into the pits on this lap. Thorn now up into 9th place and 5 seconds off the back of Savage. Savage has caught this queue of cars now, so he's within DRS range of Mark. Where is Legend? Close to J-Luke. He is not close to J-Luke. He's not close enough down into turn 1. So once again, Legend with poor ERS management can't get moves done, and Educk is now only 0.3 of a second back.
This is very interesting, and I think we have seen this a couple of times from J-Luke around Spain. So I believe in INL, in the Sprint Championship last season, he held back Toxic when he was fighting for a race win against Lewis, but J-Luke holding up what's it called? He was holding up Toxic, who was also in a Red Bull, quite interestingly.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see if Legend gets the move done, because he needs to make the move done. He's losing a lot of time. Educk is also quite close to the back of him. And
very
now
close.
he maybe have a look up the inside of turn 10, and he gets the move done, but J-Luke looking around the outside, but doesn't have the grip on those old hard tires. Legend is past the Williams driver, and now Educk needs to get past J-Luke as well in order to stay within the DRS of the Red Bull man.
He's trying to get it done. Does J-Luke dive into the pit lane? He does, so that frees Educk up, but Educk has dropped a lot of time to Legend, already just being stuck behind in the final sector. Yorno's into the pit lane as well. Is J. Cole close enough to mount a challenge on Educk at this point? He's not quite close enough, doesn't have the ERS to attack. Educk just within DRS range of Legend. Let's see if he can try and keep that as the lap goes on. It's about 0.7 of a second as they come through the first 2 corners. J. Cole just behind Mark and Savage there as well, so it's a real queue of cars forming at the moment for the race lead, but Educk already losing time to Legend in the first sector, so it looks like Legend might be able to pull a gap again. Maurice now in the lead of the race, but we've got 13 laps to go in this race, and his tyres are already 13 laps old. It's going to be a massive it's going to be a massive ask for him to get these to the end, surely.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. He has to do some insane tyre management, because I don't believe he'll make it from lap 7 to the end. And of course, lap 9 is already quite difficult to go from soft to the hard tires. That's what J. Cole's attempting to do right now. But it's going to be incredibly interesting to see, though, if he'll make it to the end, because maybe a late safety car will save his race and get him some points. But he's going to need to do insane amounts of tire management, and his Legend has caught up to him by around 4/10 this lap. So I don't even without even if Maurice makes it to the end, it's going to be incredibly interesting to see if he'll actually keep P1.
Yeah, it'll be difficult to see because Legend is catching him hand over fist at the moment. Legend has already broken DRS to Educk. So Educk now 1.3 seconds back. Just goes to show that Legend's outright speed is a lot better here at the moment. Yorno's pitted for the mediums and has come back out behind Damon, but he's already past Damon, so he's already back up into 8th place. He's 3 seconds behind his teammate. Damon picks up his 4th penalty of this race, which is going to drop him at the moment outside of the points. So he's going to drop down to, I believe, actually drop into 12th, so it will drop him last person in the points. But Jonas and Chill are closing in on much fresher tyres, so Damon could fall out of the points with those time penalties. Yorno up to 8th. It's a good recovery so far, but once he passes his teammate, if he passes his teammate Thor on the road, it's going to be really, really difficult for him to get any higher than 7th in this race.
Yeah, he has to close up 3 seconds to his teammates and then 4 seconds to the next hard runner ahead of him, and those are all inside the DRS terrain. So it's going to be incredibly interesting to see if he can actually use those medium tires to advantage and catch those hard runners and his teammate ahead. It's going to be very interesting to see if he can make it, and Legend is definitely closing to the back of Maurice.
Yeah. And Eduk has actually broken DRS range to J. Cole now, so J. Cole's no longer in Eduk's DRS range. So see, J. Cole's got a very, very good car in a straight line, it seems, because he's closing in on Eduk down the pit straight. But they're starting to separate out a little bit. Eduk's dropping J. Cole behind. J. Cole's tyres obviously 4 laps older than Eduk's, so his tyres will go off a lot quicker than the Ferrari man's, and that is now going to put J. Cole under pressure from Mark and Savage, which, in turn, could help the McLarens out, who are on fresher medium tyres. Thor is at the moment about half a second a lap faster than Savage, so he will technically catch Savage before the end of the race, but trying to get through that DRS train of cars is going to be very, very difficult. Looking further down the field then, Damon's currently running in 9th ahead of Caesar in 10th. Caesar is closing in on his teammate, but we haven't seen if he's served his second 5-second time penalty or not. We don't know that one yet. TDB in behind him. TDB not really struggling at the moment for pace, as Legend picks up a 3-second time penalty. So I believe him and Mark and Eduk all have penalties. I'm not sure if J. Cole has one yet.
I think J. Cole got one on his soft stint at the start of the race.
Oh.
I'm not quite sure. I have to check it right now. I'll check the penalty situations for every driver inside top 10. As Maurice has 2 warnings, that's great. Legend now has his 1 time penalty. Eduk also has 1 penalty. J. Cole did indeed get a penalty on his soft stint, but hasn't got a penalty since then. Mark has 1 penalty as well. Savage has also got a penalty. So everyone looks like to have a penalty except Maurice, and Toll has 4 seconds of time penalties, as does Damon, and Yorno has no warnings. Quite interesting.
Wow.
Enough.
So you're another one at the moment.
If he catches the back to those hard runners, he might be able to actually get on the podium this race.
That would be a great feat if Yorno can pull that one off. As Black Mamba's retired, that's in the pit lane though, so that shouldn't affect this race. He's retired in the pit lane. Shame for him. He qualified relatively well and had a good pace, but it's just not come together for Black Mamba. J. Luke picks up a 3-second time penalty. He's currently the last of our runners in 15th place. What a struggle it's been so far this season for J. Luke. Yorno then closing in on his teammate, and Thor is really closing in on Savage now. He's at least 7 tenths faster on the previous lap. Where's a massive slide there coming out of turn 10, but just about holds the car. Even if his time penalties won't gain him places, he'll at least gain on the queue of cars. And Yorno is faster than everyone on the track at the moment, it seems. So Yorno, like you say, with time penalties, could jump at least a couple of these hard runners by the end of the race.
Having said that, Mark had a massive slide out of the final corner, and now Savage is looking to get past the Renault man, and he does. Clear ahead.
Yeah.
That is a very crucial move for Savage, because of course they are on the both on the same tire set, but both of their tires are fresher than J. Cole's head, and J. Cole's tires will likely drop off towards the end of the race. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if Savage might make a move up to the net podium position. I don't know if I'm quite sure Maurice will make it to the end on these hard tires, though.
One thing I've just noticed though, Eduk's back within half a second of Legend, so I don't know if Legend's made a little error somewhere, or whether Eduk has picked up the pace, but he's back within DRS range of the Red Bull. So just as we thought Legend was going to pull away from Eduk and win this race comfortably, Eduk's closed back in again, and Eduk still has a lot more ERS in hand. So Eduk has upped his pace in this part of the race and is closed back in on the Red Bull man, so it's not quite over just yet. Savage still holding on to 5th place ahead of Mark. Mark again, another little small error costing him a place. We've seen this a couple of times so far this season where he makes just very, very tiny errors, but because of how close the field is, it's dropped him a couple places. And I'm sure Mark that at this point in the season, Mark will be a little bit frustrated that he hasn't quite got the results that he's kind of been looking at getting so far.
Yeah, but he is still in a strong position in 6th, and with only 1 time penalty, he could well finish inside the top 6 or maybe top 5 if he gets past Savage again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Mark probably wanted to fight for a championship at the start of the season, and his qualifying pace definitely is within the top 5, the best of the best in the division.
Yeah.
But yeah, his race pace he makes just those small errors that have big consequences, unfortunately. But he's still in a great position. If he keeps his head down, he'll finish with some decent points in the race, and he'll be quite happy, I imagine.
Meanwhile, TDB has managed to work his way past both AlphaTauri, so he's past Caesar somewhere. Damon picks up his 5th time penalty in this race is really accumulating them at the moment. But TDB's passed Caesar and Damon in the past few laps and is now up into 9th place on those hard tyres and trying to pull away from the AlphaTauri mans. AlphaTauri have had a good start to the season in terms of joint finishes. They've had good results, but this has really been a poor race for them. Caesar, we know that Caesar has good race pace, and obviously the qualifying has hindered him, but Caesar really hasn't worked his way forwards in this race. He's passed a few people who've had mistakes or spins in this race, but other than that, the only real person that he's passed that hasn't really made a mistake in this race is Breeze. So Caesar's not really made any ground, unlike his championship rival Yorno.
Yeah, because with those 5 seconds stop to go penalties, those have hindered his progress quite massively. But yeah, Yorno is looking like the faster driver right now. He qualified a few positions ahead of his championship rival. But yeah, Yorno really, as we've seen so far this season, he likes to make a comeback during races. Qualifying doesn't always go to plan. Maybe his race lap 1 or lap 2 doesn't go to plan, but he always keeps his head high, keeps his head down, or keeps his head down. Sorry, not high. But he pushes on and yeah, get some great points finishing positions. And last time out in Zandvoort, that was the first time he didn't finish on the podium. And now this race, he might have a shot with those hard runners all having time penalties except Maurice.
Yeah, I believe actually Maurice picked up a time penalty, I think, about a couple laps ago, so you have to double check that one for us. But yeah, Yorno really coming back at these guys now, and he's been very, very consistent so far this season. Zandvoort went horribly wrong. He got really kind of caught up in someone else's accident in Zandvoort, and with there being no safety cars in that race apart from right at the very end, he really couldn't make up any ground. So that's why he struggled so much in the Zandvoort race, but he's working his way forwards. Thorl is nearly within DRS range of Mark. Savage has passed Mark and hasn't been able to catch J. Cole since, so Mark is trying to get back past the Haasman, but just doesn't have the speed at the moment. Savage has enough speed in the middle part of the lap to gap Mark enough before they get to the pit straight, and it's holding Savage ahead at the moment. And for a debut, this is a really, really good showing for Savage.
Yeah, he's doing quite consistent lap times, and he's sticking well inside the top 5. He might even finish top 4, depending if Maurice gets a penalty. I've been saying it a couple of times, but I don't know if he'll make it to the end, and it's going to be incredibly difficult with Legend, of course, catching him quite massively as of right now. Only 2.2 seconds. If Legend gets inside the DRS range of the Mercedes man, I think he'll get past him quite easily. But yeah, as you said, Maurice did in fact get a time penalty a couple of laps ago, so that will of course harm him maybe in the end of the race. Everyone behind him does have a time penalty though, but
so we've got one car off the road. We've got Damon off the road. Another person's fallen foul of turn 9. Damon spun the car on the exit of the corner and gone to the outside of the track, so he's now fallen outside of the points, down to 14th place. So his race really hasn't gone to plan for him today either. He hasn't picked up any damage by the looks of things, but he's fallen out of the points, so he's now down to 14th after a spin. That puts Jonas back into P12, back in the points in the Mercedes, and he's closing in on Brie and Caesar quite rapidly at this point. But yeah, Maurice had a somewhat of a buffer over these guys because of that time penalty advantage he had. That is now gone, but one thing I have noticed is that Maurice has a lot more ERS than Legend, and we saw that it took Legend quite a while to get past J. Luke because of his ERS management. So we could end up in the same situation here. J. Luke has, yes, but
off the track turn 4.
He has, yeah, he's a lap down now. What a race this has been for J. Luke. It's really fallen apart for him. And he's now off the road at turn 4, having spun the car on a new set of soft tyres. So it looks like he might be going for a fast lap, and it's fallen apart. He's gone off the road. He's just waiting for everyone to go back past, and he's back on the road. But a real disaster of a race for J. Luke, unfortunately. But yeah, Legend is now at least a second a lap faster than Maurice. Crucial for Legend's race that he cruises up to the back of Maurice and gets the move done instantly.
Yeah, and if Maurice holds him up, he might fall into the clutches of the Ferrari behind.
Oh!
And there's a full course safety car. This is save Maurice maybe to make it to the end of the race. As he pits,
he does.
He pits.
He's coming to the pit lane.
He doesn't make it to the end.
He doesn't think he can make it to the end on these hard tyres, so he's going to come into the pit lane. No one else is coming. I'm going to come into the pit lane and try something different. I imagine someone a bit further down the field will. I think Thorl might be into the pit lane. Yes, he is. Thorl in the McLaren is into the pits. Yorno has stayed out, looking further down the field. TDB's into the pit lane in the Williams. Caesar has stayed out. Brie has stayed out. As you know, Brie's coming to the pit lanes. Jonas has stayed out. So where did Chill and Damon do? Chill's going to come into the pit lane. He may as well. He's outside of the points already, and I imagine we'll probably see Damon into the pit lane as well. But this has blown it wide open. Where has Maurice come out? Maurice on a fresh set of soft tyres in 8th place. So he's got a lot of ground to make up to try and get back to the front of the field. Can he do what Hardy did in Zandvoort and get right to the back of the front of the field, right back to the front of the field?
Another incredibly late safety car at the end of a D3 race. It's going to be very interesting to see, of course, if Maurice can make up these positions. But this safety car has essentially saved Yorno, sort of, because he doesn't have a time penalty, and all the drivers ahead of him have a 3-second time penalty at least. So if he stays within 3 seconds of the leader, he will win this race. And he is on fresh, hard, medium tires, so he has that advantage as well.
That would be a real prospect for Yorno if that happens. If Yorno's able to stick within 3 seconds of the race leader and win this race, what a race that would be for him to get to the front from outside of the top 10 on the grid. He was on the second to the last row. Damon picks up a time penalty behind the safety car, so Damon has been picking up time penalties left, right and centre. Damon didn't actually pit, so he's stayed out on 15 lap old hard tyres and is currently running in 12th, so I imagine he'll probably get swamped pretty quickly by Bree and Chill, who have come in for a set of soft tyres. But looking at the front of the field now, who's your money on to win this race?
It's good. Yeah, I don't know actually, because this has, well, of course we said earlier that Legend with his ERS management, that has been quite poor, but now he has 100% ERS and does most of the drive, everyone behind him basically. So this has saved him. He might have fell into the clutches of Edoc because of the fact he had lower ERS before the safety car.
Yeah.
But now with his ERS and of course with the pace advantage we've seen all race basically, I think Legend might be able to win the race. It's going to be completely dependent on how Yorno might progress to the field, and yeah, that's going to be interesting. But I think Legend is going to finish on track at least in first with Edoc behind and J. Cole in third. Overtaking around this track is incredibly difficult, definitely in a DRS train. With 2 laps to go, it's going to be interesting to see. What do you think?
I have no idea at this one. It's going to be very difficult. I think outright speed, Legend has the speed to win this race. I'm going to keep my eye out for Yorno. I think Yorno can get on the podium if he keeps it, if he doesn't get a penalty, because obviously he still has a tyre advantage, so he could try and pass Mark and Savage on track anyway. So if he can try and do that and get to maybe 4th and then close in on J. Cole enough to steal a podium away, then that is a great comeback from him. But I'm going to keep my eye on Maurice as well. I have to see how far forward he can work his way on those soft tyres and see what 8th. I think Maurice so far, I think Legend and Maurice can claim that they've been the fastest drivers today. I think they've shown really, really good pace. But Maurice with fair to say, a bit of a botched strategy at the moment, kind of running in 8th place. It's a shame because he's definitely had the pace to maybe win this race otherwise.
Yeah, especially with those, he started on the soft tyres, and with this early safety car, he could have quite easily made it to lap 9, but he opted to pit on lap 7 and now had to pit again in a late safety car. He's in P8, he has the fresh tyres, and he'll likely make up a couple of positions as the safety car is in this lap.
Yeah, so Legend now leads the way. Let's see what Legend can do on this restart. Do we see another restart like Maurice, where we got really, really sideways at the final corner on cold tyres, nearly lost the race lead? What does Legend do about starting this race? Does he go right after the chicane? Does he go before? Does he go after the final corner? He's slowing them right down, and he goes on the exit of the chicane. Does Legend? So he goes, but again, another person getting poor traction coming out of the chicane. Is Edoc close enough to pounce? He might be close enough. Not quite coming out of the corner, but Legend leads the race, coming across the line. Damon's retired from the session. He's spun coming out the final corner. Is Edoc close enough into turn 1? He's not quite close enough. Legend just about holds on. Further in behind, Thorl and Sir Jonas are side by side. Thor's already made up a place in that McLaren. He's up into 9th place. Maurice crawling all over the back of Caesar for 7th at the moment. Can he work his way past? Let's have a look, see if he can go down the inside of turn 4. He's not close enough. Yorno and Mark are side by side. Yorno down the inside of Mark at turn 4. He's made the move stick. Mark runs a little wide. Yorno's up a place. J. Cole's under threat from Savage as well. Savage down the inside. Mark super late on the brakes into turn 5. Sends it down the inside of Yorno, but that was a very aggressive move. That looked like a bit of a bump pass for me. So I imagine that Yorno might want to have that place back from Mark. He really forced the issue there, having to see if Savage couldn't get past J. Cole, but Legend up and gone out front. 1.1 seconds clear.
The inside of Maurice now. They're battling quite heavily, and now Maurice breaks extremely late and gets past the McLaren drive. But Thorl had a little look on Maurice, both on the fresh medium or soft tires. So I'm sorry. It's going to be incredibly interesting to see because they probably won't want to fight each other. They want to fight those hard and medium runners ahead. As Yorno is just outside the 3-second range as of right now.
Just outside right now, Legend is pulling away, 1.3 seconds clear. Is J. Cole close enough to Educ to have a go into turn 1? There's no DRS, we're on the final lap of the race now. Yorno's trying to have another go back at Mark down into turn 1. Is he close enough? Not quite. Yorno stays in 6th for the time being. Maurice hasn't made any ground on those soft tyres. It's not worked for him. This final safety car, he can't get moves done, and he's already clearly out of ERS in that Mercedes. So he's stuck behind Cesar Rizzi. He's going for a move at turn 4. Can he go all the way around the outside? Cesar's a bit late on the brakes. He covers the line. Maurice tries to get back underneath, but doesn't have the speed to do so. Is he going to try and go around the outside of turn 5? He has a lot of grip. He tries to do the switchback, but isn't quick enough to do so. Cesar holds on to 7th place for the time being. J. Cole losing touch with Educ once again. It's Legend out front who's pulling away, 1.3 seconds clear. We've got someone off the road. Cesar's dropped it, coming out of turn 7 on the final lap from 7th place. Cesar has dropped the car and is now out of the points, 2nd in the championship, losing even more points to Yorno at this point. As we come into the final sector of the final lap, looking further down, Thorland to Jonas are side by side. So Jonas has worked his way back past Thorland. There's more contact, and Thor's off the road on the exit of turn 12. What a race it could have been for him. He's fallen to the back of the field, and Maurice has gone off the road as well at turn 13. It's all fallen apart in the final sector for a lot of drivers, but Legend's going to come around the final corner and win the race on track. But where is Yorno compared to him? Educ crosses the line in 2nd, then it's J. Cole Savage, then it's Mark. Yorno goes to 2nd in the end, 7/10 of a second behind Legend, but Legend with the speed at the end had just enough to hold off Yorno and win the race.
And Bree going all the way up to 6th place.
Wow.
Incredible, only 5 or 6 600s behind Savage and P5. That is incredible. That safety car has saved this race, and oh my god, what an ending to the race. That final sector with Toll and Maurice both on the soft tires spinning in the final sector, that was quite interesting, as NSX Yorno got the Driver of the Day award from the game, and quite deservingly so, I'd say.
I'd say quite determinedly so as well. What a drive from Yorno. If he even has a bad qualifying or a bad start to the race, you cannot hold this man down. From 15th on the grid, he wins the race. But in the end, Legend had great pace at that safety car restart. He wins the race then for Red Bull on his first outing in this league. So great stuff from Legend. Yorno in 2nd, ahead of Educ in 3rd in the Ferrari. His 2nd podium of the season, I believe, if I'm correct. J. Cole in 4th. It nearly works for him, but not quite. He didn't have the pace at the end to really capitalise on that early pit stop. Savage in 5th on debut. Good result from him ahead of Bree and Mark, 6th and 7th for Renault. Mark will probably be pretty disappointed with 7th in the end. TDB 8th ahead of Jonas 9th. Chill rounds off the top 10 after a drive-through penalty. So that final safety car really saved Chill's race. Thorn in 11th, and Caesar ended up with a final point despite a spin on the final lap. Maurice retired right before the start-finish line, so he doesn't pick up any points at all. Other retirees were Damien, J-Luke, Black Mamba, Stumpy and YHYY. But what a race that was in the end, and I've got a hats off to these guys. That was an incredible race.
That was an incredible race from start to finish, and that was just insane. And Bree, with 3 pit stops, managed to finish P6 with no time penalties. I mean, hats off to him as well. That is quite impressive, with everyone ahead of him basically doing a 1-stop, and he had to do a 3-stop. So,
yeah,
but him still finishing 6th, that is quite good, and I'm sure he'll be happy with that.
Absolutely. Just before we end the stream today, then, Dylan, I'm going to call you Damon then. I'm going to ask you for driver of the day. I think I know who you're going to choose, but who would your driver of the day be?
I'm going to choose for Yorno, keeping it clean, no time penalties, and having a good race. And I believe if he didn't get held up by Mark, he might have won that race on penalties. But yeah, I think he had a great drive, and I think he deserves the driver of the day. Who's your driver of the day?
I would probably agree with you. I think Legend puts in a good case for a great race and a win on debut in the Red Bull. He had a really, really good job. But for Yorno to come from 15th on the grid and finish on the podium, once again on the podium for the 4th time this season, he is really stamping his authority on this championship. So I think I'm going to have to give it to Yorno as well for that recovery drive. But that is where we are going to end the stream today, guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone for racing. Thank you, Dylan, for joining me in the commentary box once again. It's great to have you in here. And we will see you again this time next week for round 6 of the championship taking place at Baku. Tune in a couple minutes time as well to cheer Dylan and I on in the Division 2 race as well. So we will see you again this time next week. From Dylan and myself, it is goodbye.